pick something that you're good at, and then the passion will come. The love for that will come. Like, I didn't love strength and conditioning at the beginning. I fell in love with it like I fell in love with playing basketball and different sports.
The 5 times UFC champion.
Try it, go ahead.
Joanna, let me say Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did very well.
Jędrzejczyk. Sorry, Joanna. I love you. So I am looking for a coach right now. How do you convince me to hire you?
But training full body each time is really not beneficial for you. After 40, every year, you lose 1% of muscle mass.
I'm already depressed.
So 1% of muscle mass if you don't train. If you train, you can delay that process greatly. It might be controversial, but I don't think it is, because people are confused about what to eat now. So what should I eat? What should I eat? Think about what was available 50,000 years ago on Earth and eat that.
Before we start, I want to tell you about a place I call home. This place is Leila Restaurant and Lounge, located at the heart of Warsaw at Żurawia 32. I call this place home because, first of all, Leila is the name of my own mother. And this is the place where you find me having a meal or having a business meeting or simply just hanging out with my friends. I love Leila so much because this is where I see Polish people and friends from around the world come together to share a drink, a meal, a laugh, or a story. I am happy to announce that Leila is now a proud sponsor of the Warsaw Confidential show. And for you guys, we have a very special deal. You get 10% off your bill, your meal, drinks, whatever you get at Leila. You just have to mention Warsaw Confidential and you will get your discount. Thank you, Leila, for sponsoring this episode. I look forward to seeing you all there. Hello and welcome to Warsaw Confidential, Poland's #1 podcast in English. I am your host KAMAL JAHID, and today my guest is Mirek Babiarz. Mirek is a pioneering strength and conditioning coach whose unique journey bridges American sports culture and Polish athletic excellence. Known for his work with elite athletes, including 5-time UFC champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk and members of Poland's national teams, Mirek has dedicated his career to elevating the standards of coaching and athletic performance. Let's dive into his inspiring journey and the wisdom he brings to the next generation of athletes. Thank you so much for supporting our show. Please enjoy this episode. Mirek, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You made the trip all the way from Gdynia to Warsaw. It means a lot to us.
Of course, it's a pleasure.
So my first question would be, what was the most defining moment or has been the defining moment in your journey that made you the coach today?
I think the second time I went back to the United States, because the first time I went back, I traveled there. I was really young. I was only 16. And I went there for school, for different things, to play basketball. I know you can't tell because of my height, but I did play basketball. Yeah. And the second time I went back, I actually went back to become a coach specifically. So I traveled there. I contacted my old coach. That was my coach back in college. And I told him I wanted to become a strength and conditioning coach, a sports performance coach. And he kind of guided me through the process of going back there and getting a job and getting education. So I think that was the defining moment in my career. That was 2010, when I actually went back the second time to the States to actually become a strength and conditioning coach.
So what do you mean the second time? Has it been the first time?
Yeah, 2 times. So I went back the first time when I was 16 years old. So my actually, it started all with my grandmother. She went there in the 80s, like late 80s. It was difficult times in Poland in the 80s. It was right post-communism and things like that. So it was tough. People would travel to find work and things like that. So she traveled to the United States and stayed there and lived there for about 30 years. And then my dad left for the same reason, to work and to make money, to just provide for our family. And ever since he left, and then my sister actually went there as well. So it's like half of my family was there, half of my family was in Poland. But watching American movies, watching like I grew up in the 80s and early 90s, so it was like the muscle movies, like with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal. Like I always wanted to go there to America, obviously, to play sports, but also just to experience the American culture. So I went there at 16 years old. I remember with no English. Went straight to school the first week. I remember I was learning alphabet because I didn't even know that. So like the first semester in school, couldn't speak no English. Everyone was trying to talk to me. I would just throw my hands up. I'm like, hey, I don't understand English. That's the only thing I knew. So I went to high school for 2.5 years there. Then I went to college and things like that. I played basketball. So that's why I wanted to go there to play basketball. My dream was to play in the NBA. Obviously, I know now it wasn't possible, but back then I thought it would be possible. Like my dream was big to play in the NBA. So I went there to play basketball. I did play in college, played in high school with some success. And then I wanted to keep playing. So I traveled back to Poland in 2008 to play. So I played professional here for a couple of years. And then I figured out that I wasn't going to be a superstar. I wasn't going to the NBA. And the money wasn't that good. And I had this passion about strength and conditioning, physical performance, sports performance, and things like that. So that's how I decided with my wife now that we wanted to go back and pursue that dream of becoming a coach and then maybe staying in America eventually. But we did come back in 2016 and opened up a business here. So it was like kind of back and forth for the past 20 years or so, 25 years. Lived some time there, couple years here, then went back there for a couple of years and been back here since 2016, so 9 years now back in Poland.
Before we dive into the conditioning and the coaching, you mentioned twice that you knew you will not make it in basketball. Why?
Yeah. I knew the level where I was at. I played like the second division in Poland. Like I knew and I was 24 years old, 25 years old. Like by that time, if I was going to make it, I would make it by that time. At least I would play at the highest level in Poland or maybe in Europe or somewhere, but I wasn't playing. I wasn't doing that. And I wasn't getting any better. So I figured like now is the time to step away. I didn't want to be like the 35, 40-year-old athlete that makes barely any money and then he finishes playing and then he doesn't have any things to do because he didn't open up a business, he didn't learn anything, he just played sports. And there's many athletes like that here around the world. When they finish playing, they really don't have no idea what they want to do because they didn't secure that business, so they didn't learn anything besides just playing sports. So I didn't want to do that. I kind of realized that early that I don't want to do that. So I stopped playing when I was 26. And that was early enough for me to learn a different profession and become a coach and businessman eventually.
I have to say that takes a lot of self-awareness. I am very inspired, I must say. In my line of work, I come across a lot of creative minds, artists and whatnot. And oftentimes it is the thing that I see missing, that people obviously want to be this amazing artist or this amazing football player. And they don't have that vision that you just mentioned, which is very, very important and inspiring. And I came across this, I forgot the name I mentioned. He said, for example, if my kid comes to me and says, hey, Dad, I want to be a singer, I want to be a DJ, I want to be this or that, the dad would say, yeah, that's fine, but I give you 2 years. If you're not in the top 1%, we gotta change course and do something that will actually make you money. So I think that's what you did there. So this is very, very inspiring, and thank you for sharing that with us, being open about it.
You're welcome.
It's not a lot of people say, I knew I will not make it.
It's funny you say that because people always tell other people to follow their passion.
Right.
But you have to be good at your passion as well. Like you can't just blindly follow your passion for a whole life, but you're not good at it. So I always tell people, pick something that you're good at, and then the passion will come. The love for that will come. Like I didn't love strength and conditioning at the beginning. I fell in love with it. Like I fell in love with playing basketball and different sports. I like to train other people. I like to go to the gym and work out, but I didn't love it at the beginning. It took me about 5 or 6 years to really fall in love with that. And now I feel like it's like, as much as I loved basketball or playing basketball in sports back in the day, now that's how much I love strength and conditioning now. But I didn't love it at the beginning. So I knew I could be good at it because it's a profession that you can learn and become good. You don't have to have a skill. Like, if hard work is a skill, obviously you have to have that and consistency and things like that. But you don't have to have a physical skill. You don't have to be talented to be a great coach. It just comes with hard work, dedication, consistency, and doing and learning and experiencing things. So I knew I could do that. In basketball, I couldn't do it. I maximized my potential 100%. Like, I knew I couldn't go past a certain point because of my height, my abilities, my genetic potential, and things like that. With being a coach, I can always grow. I can grow for the rest of my life and become a better coach. Even if I'm 50, 60, 70 years old, I can keep growing. With being an athlete, you can't really do that. So I always tell people, like, pick something that you like, and then the passion and love should come once you become more successful with that, once you start doing more of that, and just dedicate yourself to the craft. But don't just blindly follow your passion and just do things that you want to do. Like, you want to draw, but you a bad drawer. You can't draw anything, right? Like, you can't just make a profession out of that. But you have to pick something that you're kind of good at, or something that you can actually learn how to do and become good at it.
So where do you think you got this self-awareness from?
I don't know. I think it did come from sports, because obviously when growing up playing sports, you have different coaches that inspire you, and they tell you different stories and tell you how to live your life. But there are certain coaches that I remember, or teachers, coaches, and professors that just like you learn from, and they obviously tell you their wisdom because they're older, they've been through that. So I think the self-awareness came from being around older people. I always try to hang around like older crowd. If I played basketball, I would play with like older guys, and they would like teach me things and tell me things about sports and life and how to like look at different things. And I think that opened up my eyes to different things. And once I became older, because when you're young, you don't listen, like, what they know. Like, I just do my thing, right? But when you're like 25, 26, like, you become older, like, obviously your perspective changes, and you start to think about people you've met, things they told you, and then you start to realize that maybe I'm not going to the NBA. Maybe I should do something else that I like, and then become a coach. And that's what I did.
Peace with the decision,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Beautiful. I love that. So you decide, okay, NBA or basketball is not for me, and I'm going back to the US to learn how to become a coach.
Yep.
Obviously, your first trip to the US gave you an idea how incredible the American sports culture, I would assume, because these guys are beasts.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing here you wanted to learn from the best.
Yep.
So walk me through these first days. You are in America now. Where was this exactly?
The first time or second time?
The second time.
It was on the East Coast. It was close to Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, New Jersey, outside of Philadelphia.
So it was the nice weather. And,
Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell me about this first days there. You having this hunger to learn, to grow, and to become a coach.
Well, it was something that we planned with my wife in Poland. So we laid out this plan that we're going to do this. Obviously, we have to apply for the visa. Then you have to get accepted into school, because to become a coach, you have to go through a school system. Like, you have to go to the university, then maybe go professional. Like, there is a step-by-step approach. And so we wanted to, once I contacted my coach, he kind of laid down the process for me, like, you should do this, get this certification, trying to get accepted into this school, where you're going to live, look at different schools, see if I hire in a coach, maybe they need help and things like that. So I had everything like laid out, right? So we were living in Warsaw back then. That was 2015 when we decided that we wanted to go back. So we were going through this whole process of getting a visa, then going to America, then getting accepted into school, then getting my first job. I remember when I was emailing the coach, it was Temple University in Philadelphia. It was like a big time Division I school. So it's like a big school, big sports for college athletics. I remember I kept emailing the coach, and I kept calling him, I kept emailing him. And then once I was hired, he told me that he loved the persistency, and he loved how committed I was, and that I kept bothering him. Like people would just email him once or twice. I just kept doing it. And then he said, like, this guy really wants this. Like, maybe I should give him an interview. So he gave me an interview. I got the job. I remember I walked out of the building and I cried. I was like, shit. Everything that I laid out, like 2 years ago, now, like, it came into fruition. Like, I actually did this. We did this. Like, whatever. It was a big process, step-by-step process that, and I got the job. Like, that's what I wanted 2 years ago in a big-time school in America, becoming a strength and conditioning coach, coaching athletes. I remember it was like 24 different sports. It was like 500 athletes. So all different sports at the highest level. So it was just an amazing feeling. And I think that was like a turning point in my life. And ever since then, I know that if I work hard, I'm consistent with it, I can achieve anything, right? But you have to be consistent. Like, I love this quote by Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington said, you have to first, obviously, be committed, right, to do something, but then you have to be consistent to finish it. Like, everyone can be committed and they can start something. A lot of people start something, but they never finish because it's either too hard, they come up to like the first bump and they finish, right? They don't want to do anymore. Like the bumps in the road are like just there to weed off the people that don't really want it. Like, you know, you can get to the top and you know the bumps are there.
Yeah.
If you realize the bumps are going to be there, then you're not surprised by them. Like, it's like, all right, it's another bump. Like, everyone can go this way, I'll keep going. Everyone can stop, I'll keep going. So that time when I got that job, that was like the turning point in my life, that I knew if I work hard, I'm consistent, I really want it, I laid out a plan of action, I can achieve anything I want. And I've been following that ever since then.
So now you got the job, you're learning how to become a coach. What was the main, let's say, concept or ideas you took from the American culture that helped you to become the coach you are today?
The value of hard work, for sure, because that's why I live by as a coach and as a person. It's hard work. There's no shortcuts. There's no magic pills and magic formulas. A lot of people are looking for that magic pill, magic formula, whether it's sports or business or life in general. They want something quick, they want something fast, and they want it now, right? They don't want to wait for it, they don't want to work for it. With athletics, especially physical performance, it takes years to build like your body, to build up like this top performance. It takes 10, 15 years from like when you start at like 15 years old, maybe at like 28, you'll be at peak performance. That's 13 years of hard work. Like, people want to go to the gym one day and then they want to see results the next day, right? They don't want to, and if they don't see results, they quit. Same thing with business, with life. They don't want to, everyone wants to fast. So the idea of hard work and working towards a goal, that's one of the main things I took from there, and trying to install in my athletes here, that if you hard work, you show up every day, you work hard, you show up every day, you do what I tell you to do, then you're going to achieve great things. And the people that have been doing that, they see the results. And once you see the results, then it's just like no stopping from there, right? Like, same thing with life and business. Once you see that it actually works, then it's game on from there. Like, you're always going to keep going. You're always going to keep training. You're always going to read books because you know it works, right? But like I said, you have to go through the bumps, because if you go down and then you stop, then you're like, this doesn't work. Like, I've tried it for 3 months, it doesn't work, right? But if you go through that bump and then go up, and then you see that it was just a bump in the road, that you got through it, and it took hard work, dedication, sacrifice, consistency to go through that, then you know you're going to achieve great things. So I think the value of hard work, that's like number one thing I got from America. There is no magic formulas, no magic pills. It's just hard work, and hard work is always going to work if you do it for long enough.
So do you think this ingredient of hard work is missing in Poland?
First of all, let me say, I love working with Polish athletes. I think Polish athletes are one of the most talented athletes in the world, physically and mentally. And that's why I love working with them, because I know if I help them even more and I increase their physical performance, they will increase their mental performance. And then we know that mental performance and physical performance are two keys to success in any sport, pretty much. Right. So it's not necessarily that the hard work is missing, but they need more coaches that will show them the way. And they need to see what hard work really looks like. Because everyone views hard work from their own perspective, right? It's only hard based on whatever hard things you've done in your life in the past, right? But once you really work hard and you're like, damn, I never worked this hard in my life. And the next time you do something even harder, you're like, damn, I never did this hard work before. And then you just keep going, and then you do more and more and more. So you always view hard work based on your experience. People think like, oh, I spent a lot of time reading, I spent a lot of time training, but they never met people that do it even more, right? Or even more, or they train even harder, or for more hours a day, or more quality work and things like that. So you have to show them the way, and you have to show them what hard work really is. And that's why I always tell them always to travel as well, because you have to see the world, you have to see other athletes, and you have to see other teams and how they work and see how hard they work. A lot of people go to America sometimes. I train a lot of MMA athletes. There's great MMA clubs in America, and my athletes would go there for like 6 weeks, and they come back and tell me, damn, I never worked this hard in my life. Like I thought I did work hard. Once I went there, I realized that I didn't, right? So they went through this threshold of hard work. They never thought was possible before. So I think we need more people or more coaches that will guide the athletes into the correct path of working hard and working towards a goal and doing it correctly to achieve the specific goals they might have.
Because you mentioned, or while doing research on you, I've seen that you have been working with top Polish athletes like Joanna, and I'm going to try to not butcher her name.
Try it, go ahead.
The 5 times UFC champion, Joanna, let me say, Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Jędrzejczyk. I'm sorry, Joanna. I love you. What was that experience working with her, for example?
It was another defining moment in my career, for sure. Because ever since when I was an athlete, like I wanted to obviously play in the NBA. NBA is the highest level, so I wanted to play at the highest level. When I stopped that and became a coach, that translated into working with the best athletes. So as a coach, obviously you want to work with the best.
Right.
Not every coach. Some coaches want to work with kids. Some want to work with general population. With myself and my character, I wanted to work with the best. Like I wanted to be the best athlete. Now I want to work with the best athlete as a strength and conditioning coach. So once I started to work with her, that was in 2018 or 17. Another defining moment in my career that like I'm doing the correct thing, and that pushed me even to work even harder, right? Because I realized that this UFC champion is working with me, and she could work with anyone else in Poland. There's 40 million people. She chose me as a coach, right? So I must be doing something correct, must be doing something right. So that pushed me even to work even harder and kind of follow along the path that I was on. So it was a great experience. I got to travel with her. I went to the United States a few times for pre-fight camps, to Florida, which was nice because the weather, obviously.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience, great learning experience. She's a great girl. So she deserved everything she got. She's just got inducted into UFC Hall of Fame as the only first Polish MMA athlete in history. She deserves that. She's regarded as one of the best strawweight division champions in the UFC history. So great experience for me, for sure, in my career.
So what did you learn from that experience, like personally?
I think that you have to listen to the athlete as well, and not just blindly follow what you want to do. So I learned how to work with her as a person, and kind of, as a coach, you have your own philosophy, right? And based on the assessments that you do testing, you do different training methodologies, different periodization models, obviously to make that athlete the best athlete possible. But also there's things that she likes to do that makes her a better athlete, because she knows herself the best. She knows her better than I know her. I will ever know her, right? You know yourself the best. I know myself the best. So she knows what works for her as well. So even though sometimes I didn't agree with that, I tried to incorporate that, because I knew even if it wasn't physical, maybe it was not based on science, but it was mental, right? If she didn't do that, if I told her not to do it, she probably would think that she's getting worse. Maybe she's getting worse shape. So she likes to run, Obviously, MMA athletes do run, but she liked to run long distance, which is not always the best for MMA athletes because the fight is only 15 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes, and it's all like high-speed action followed by some rest, high-speed action, things like that. So long distance running, like steady-state cardio, is not really necessarily beneficial for performance, right? Because you have to do explosive, powerful, strong movements in a cage and things like that. You're not just running, right? And slow movements. But she loved to do that. And she would do that twice a week, and we got her to do it once a week. So I got her down to once a week, but I never got rid of it, even though I didn't think it was, I thought it was kind of useless, especially at that point of her career, because she was already in shape. It's okay to do that if you're out of shape or if you're coming back from injury. You want to do that, kind of build that aerobic base. But once you're in great shape like she was, you don't really need to do that. But she did that for mental clarity and mental performance. So we allowed her to do that, and she felt better by doing that. And then it worked out great because she trusted me, I trusted her, and we kind of had the whole team on the same page. So I think I'll learn how to listen to an athlete and not just blindly follow what I think is best for that athlete.
That is a very interesting take. I love that. So if I am this high-performing athlete, which I am, I wish, and I decide to take you or hire you as my coach, what would be your method or your approach with me?
Well, I'll first take you through an assessment period. So I'll see how you move. So if you can do basic movements, like basic squatting patterns, if you can squat, right? If you can squat with arms overhead, if you can press overhead, if you can do a chin-up. So see if you have any movement restrictions. I will take down your history of injuries. So if you have any injuries, any operations, and you could maybe have a history of knee injury or ankle pain. So different things. I'll write that down. I'll go through the assessment to see how your knee looks, how your ankle, how your shoulder, your low back. Then I'll look at the sport that you're playing. So what are the demands of the sport itself? How long is the sport? What is it individual? Is it team? What movements dominate in that sport? What energy system dominates in that sport? If it's just running, or if it's running, change of directions, hitting, jumping, landing, kicking, things like that. So see, that gives me an idea what I should work on as far as muscles, joint angles, injuries that are most common in that sport, right, specifically that I could avoid. But most importantly, I look at you as a person first, because you will have, if you play football, right, and he plays football, you have the same demands for the sport, but you might have different deficiencies individually, right? You might have knee pain and he might have back pain, and then he will have elbow pain. You might have restrictions in your knee flexion, he might have restrictions in arm flexion or whatever, right? Or arm extension. So there's different things. You might have weak quadriceps and somebody else will have weak hamstrings or calves and things like that. So there's different problems within that specific person, individual problems that you have to assess first before you train somebody for the sport. Because training for somebody for the sport obviously is the key, but then if I don't fix your problems first, then I will just build strength on top of dysfunction, and we don't want to do that. We want to train somebody, right, for that sport, but we want to take care of the basics within that specific person first. I will look at you individually before I even look at the sport demands.
So is this like the American way or how did you come up to this, let's say, methodology?
It's more common in Poland now. Okay. The profession of strength and conditioning, when I came back in 2016, was virtually unknown. It was just starting. In America, it's been there for 50 years now. So it's well known. So it is definitely something I'll learn over there. But obviously, I lived here for 10 years now. So I've been learning along the way. You never stop learning as a coach, like I said before. Once you say you know everything, then you're done as a coach. Like you always have to be a student of the game. You learn every day as a coach. So there's something definitely that I started over there, but something I crafted here and kind of expanded on my philosophy here. So if you look at what I did 10 years ago to what I did 5 years ago to what I did 2 years ago, it's all different. Like it's always evolving. It's the same basic principles, but there's things that you learn that might change some views on how to rehab, how to increase performance, different methods. Like there's thousands and thousands of books that you can read, obviously. Same thing for business, same for training, whatever profession that you're in, you never stop learning. So you're always trying to come up with something that's going to help you. You don't change 180% or 100% of what you do and just kind of throw your philosophy into the garbage and then adopt this new philosophy. You always keep your main focus on your main philosophy and then kind of add your tools into your toolbox, right? You get a new hammer or you get new pliers, right? New tape measurement, whatever. And then you have this big toolbox of different ideas and methodologies and periodization and training methods, and just keep adding tools. And if one tool doesn't fit, you throw that out. If it's an old tool, maybe that's not working anymore, there's no room for that. So you have more and more tools. You're replacing the old ones with new ones and things like that. So there are certain tools, like certain training methodologies that you might not use for months or even years. But then somebody comes to you like, oh, I need to do this with this person. So that's why you need to learn all these methods. You have to have all these tools available, because there comes a time when you have to use the tool, then you can use it. You know how to use it. You know how to apply it to that athlete. That's why you have to always learn, because you never know when you're going to need a certain method or a certain training method and when you're going to use that with athletes.
Where do you land in the Polish coaching scene? Because now with the social media era, it looks like everyone can be a coach or become a coach. Do you know what I'm definitely talking about?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, social media it's a gift and a curse at the same time, right? It gives people that haven't had voice before a voice, right? To express themselves and to show themselves to the world. Back in the day, to become a coach, obviously you have to have education, certification, experience. You might have to write a book and publish that book, and then like there's this whole process of becoming known as a coach. Right now, you can become known as a coach in a week, right? You just change your name on Instagram. You just call yourself the best Polish strength and conditioning coach, right? With the whatever, and then people usually they can't fact check things on Instagram. Like you can write anything there you want. They can't check that unless you apply for a job or things like that. So there's definitely a trend of sports performance coaches and personal trainers and things like that on Instagram, on social media. I'm not a fan of it, but if I was in their position, I'd probably do the same thing, right? Because everyone wants to make the name for themselves. Everyone wants to follow their passion. Everyone wants to make money off of their passion, right? So it's nothing's better than doing things that you love and you making money off of that, because you never feel like you're working. Like you just feel like you just going to the gym and training every day and then training athletes, and you drink coffee with your buddies, right? You train some people and then you go home, like you read more and you read things that you like to read, like, you know what I mean? So I know a lot of people that work their jobs and they don't really like it, like they hate it. Like most people don't like their jobs, right? I say like most people don't like their jobs. There's only few % of people that really love what they do, right? There's people that tolerate what they do and they kind of like it, and maybe they grow into their job and they grow to like it. But there's not that many people like myself or yourself, like they really love what you do. I can tell. I love what I do. I can probably tell that I'm pretty passionate about that. But there is a lot of people now on social media that probably shouldn't be there. But I think you just have to wait, because the time is going to weed off the weak. The time is going to weed off the people that shouldn't be there. Like the time is going to be has no mercy, right, on them. Because once you have to step into my shoes, like you have to sit down here and talk to you, talk about the experience, and maybe express yourself and talk about training, and maybe talk about different things that you claim that you know, right? Because Instagram, you can just edit everything. You can use ChatGPT. You can make great pictures. You can edit reels. You can make reels. You can edit anything. Like now, back in the day, if you wanted to be a singer, you had to freaking know how to sing. Now there's people that are singers that they can't even sing, right? Like auto-tune and things like that. So, right, it's not even in coaching. Now it's like just music profession, business, everything. Like with social media, it's easier. But once you get face-to-face, that's when you verify that person, right? If it's really, if he's bullshitting, if he's the real deal. So that, and then experience and game results, because athletes will know. So athletes now, they have choices, right? Back in the day when there was no social media, they probably just listened to their coach in their city, in their club, and they had no other choice because they didn't really see other coaches. Now, athletes are smart. They go onto social media, they read about training, they read about other coaches, they know what good certifications are, they know what good experiences, they know other athletes, they listen to other athletes, see how they feel about that coach, see about their experience with certain coaches and things like that. So time usually verifies those people, right? And then I always say that if you do good work and produce results, people will find you, right? So it takes time, because I see a lot of, like, I've been back in Poland for 10 years and been a strength coach for 15 years. So for 10 years in Poland, I've been a strength and conditioning coach, and I see people becoming a coach and then leaving, becoming a coach and leaving from Instagram, from Facebook. Like they do something, they open up a business, now they're gone. Or like they big on social media, now they're gone. There's only a handful of people that have been there in 2016 and they're here now in 2024, as in my profession, only a handful. But there's hundreds, if not thousands of coaches now, but we'll see who's left in 5 years. We'll see who's left in 10 years, and we'll see who's going to have results in 5 years and 10 years and things like that, right? Because the work is going to verify those people, for sure.
Time is the essence, right?
Yeah.
So I am looking for a coach right now. How do you convince me to hire you?
Well, as a coach, as an athlete, as yourself,
yes,
right?
I am. I actually played for the national team in Morocco.
For what sport?
15 football.
Oh, really good.
But my knee got fucked up and my dream were crashed.
Needs strength and conditioning.
So, yes.
So as an athlete, if you want to verify a coach, if you want to verify me as a coach, is see if I'm a good coach, you look at a few different things. First of all, obviously, the most basic thing is education, right? Do you have education in the profession that you coach in? So if you have a master's degree, at least, I have a master's degree in kinesiology. I'm working on my PhD in sports science currently. So that's like the first thing, right? But that's obviously anyone can do that. Because if you book smart, you can just learn that. If you book smart, I'm not book smart, by the way. I'm not the dumbest book smart person ever. I'm just really persistent and hardworking, so that's why. So that's the first thing. Second thing is obviously the knowledge that you have, but in like a real world. So if you're training anyone, see who you're training, who am I training, what teams have I worked with, what athletes have I worked with. Like I worked with world champions, I worked with Polish champions, national champions, Olympic athletes, different sports, over 30 sports I worked with. So see their practical experience and then compare that to their education experience and see what results am I producing. So are those people winning? Are they getting medals at the world championships, Olympics, and things like that? Are they getting UFC championships? Not just one person, because anyone can just train one person. Like if I'm training like 5, 10, 15 athletes, I'm consulting for different teams and things like that, right? So you look at the overall work experience of that person. And then maybe the last thing you do, you look at the science. So if I'm working on scientific papers right now to prove that my methodology and my periodization model works better than other models. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm writing research based on how I train compared to the other training methodology that's most common. So I'm going to prove that in scientific way. So I have the education experience, I have the practical experience, and now I have the scientific proof that what I do works. So you have these three things that you can look at, and then you can also look at my social media following numbers. No, I don't look at that. So if I have at least 10,000 on Instagram, then I'm good.
I'm asking this question because I myself used to always have a coach. Because obviously my football coaching game when I was in Morocco, when I moved to Poland, I wanted to gain some weight because I was very skinny before, and somehow I felt like I needed to have a trainer with me all the time. But with the time passing, I found myself, and I'm going to attract a lot of heat here, a lot of coaches or trainers, they were disappointed in me because they were like all the time on their phones while I'm doing the rep, and the guy is completely disengaged with me. And then I said to myself, no more. trainers no more, personal trainers. I love personal trainers. I have a lot of friends, but it's just does not work for me anymore. So when you say a conditioning and strengthening coach, it does make more sense to me as a guy who always likes to improve, my workout. So, because what I'm trying to do with you right now is to actually deliver value to the audience and see, for example, I go to the gym, but I do bodybuilding, maybe like straightening, like weightlifting, let's say, just weightlifting. How can I improve my performance to lift more, for example?
To lift more weight?
Yes.
To become better, to look better and things like that?
Exactly.
Well, I have to first look at what you do currently to assess how many days a week. How many days a week do you lift?
I help you there. So I go 3 times to 4 times.
Yeah.
And every time I do full body workout, which means chest press, squats, biceps, triceps, curls, the basic movement, and deadlifts. And what else? So 1, 2, 3 chest, and the pull down.
So 4 times a week, and full body each time. How many repetitions do you do usually?
I do, because I have a little bit of ADHD. I get bored very quickly, so I try to do 8 reps 3 times. 8, 3, pam, 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 done, and it's like on the clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I take my phone with me. I'm a very high-performing guy. So I found the Apple Watch a wonderful invention because I can load the music.
Right.
I have my headphones, and I have a little app that I paid €1 for it, and it times every, let's say, exercise, and everything is on the clock. So when I get in, I have exactly 1 hour nonstop. Yeah, like going all the time. Tin, 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 tin. Like I have the break, 1 minute break. Then it sends a notification. It vibrates. Okay. It's a powerful. I love it. It's like that's the moment. Then I do 20 minutes sauna, and then sometimes I do a cold plunge when I'm feeling a little bit adventurous, and everything is at the gym. And the whole process takes me 2 hours.
Okay. So a couple of things here.
I
would change right away.
All right.
So there's things that you have to look at. So frequency of training. So you obviously train 4 times a week. That's really good. But training full body each time is really not beneficial for you. I would do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, or lower upper. So I would do 2 times of straight upper body training and 2 times of legs training. So if you're training, because you need density is another thing. So density is how much per body part or per muscle group you do within a specific day. So if you do full body 4 times a week, the density of upper body training in that specific day is really low because you can only do 2 exercises, maybe 3, then you have to do something for legs, something for other body parts. So you need the training to be more dense. So if you split it up to upper, lower, then you can just focus more on just upper body. For example, on Monday, you just do upper body, right? And then you can fit more exercises within that day. More exercises mean more stress and more volume to the nervous system and the muscular system, so you naturally will grow more. So either it depends if your goal is muscle hypertrophy, so you want to look good, or you want to do muscle strength, which maybe will not make you look like a bodybuilder, but will help you feel better and you're going to be stronger. And you can do both, right? You can kind of do muscle hypertrophy, muscle strength, right? So I would first of all, I would change that. I would do upper, lower, or lower, upper 2 times for upper body, 2 times for lower body. And then the second time is there's obviously sets and reps, like you said, 3 sets of 8, and then the rest period are the 3 most important things that you have to vary within your workout to achieve specific results. So if you want strength specifically, you want to stay below 5 repetitions, right? You can't do 8 repetitions and become strong. At the beginning you can, because the adaptation is good at the beginning because you haven't been working out, or like if somebody is a novice, they go to the gym for the first time, 8 repetitions will gain them strength anyway, right? Because they never done it before. But once you keep going on a consistent basis, after like 6 months, 8 months, 8 repetitions will be too high for strength adaptation, right? Because your nervous system will need a higher intensity. Higher intensity means closer to like 1 repetition maximum. So if you do 1 repetition for a squat, right, and you can't do the second one, that's 100% intensity. That's 1 repetition max. So to work on strength, you need to work within the 1 and 5 repetition range, somewhere in there. But you can't pick a weight that you can do for 10 repetitions and do only 5 repetitions, right? Because you're leaving 5 repetitions in the tank. So that's not really strength training. You need to kind of do 5 repetitions, but maybe with the weight that you can do 6, maybe 7 at the maximum, right? Then you're going to be working at the higher and the high enough intensity for strength adaptation to happen, right? Because you have the nervous system, that's for your brain, and you have the muscular system. Muscular system responds better to higher repetitions, like 8, for example, or 10 or 12. And the nervous system responds better to low repetitions, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For strength gain, like you want to be stronger, like you want to lift up this chair right here, right? And it weighs 100 kilograms, and you can't do it. Like if you want to do that, you need to train in a lower repetition range, right? Because you lift up a chair 1 time, not 8 times, right? Unless you want to do it 8 times, right? You can do it, right? But if something's heavy, you want to do it 1 time. So to gain strength, right, it usually comes from the nervous system. Nervous system obviously is going to send signal to the muscles, and muscles are going to lift the chair or the weight. So for strength gain, low reps. For muscle hypertrophy or muscle building, higher reps. So I would suggest if you want to gain more strength, you lower the repetition, especially for the first main exercises. So you should always start, there's a specific order of exercises you should start with. You usually start with the exercises that work the longest range of motion and the most muscles, and they are stressful for the nervous system. So like a squat or a deadlift or a bench press or overhead press or a chin up or a dip or something like that. Something that works many muscles, right? And something that you can actually load with weight really heavy. So for the squat, you can do much more weight than you can do for calf raises. Right? Mm-hmm. So you always start with those exercises because those exercises will stress the nervous system and the muscular system the most. And that will give you the most bang for your buck. So that will give you strength gain and hypertrophy gain. And then the next order of exercises will be like a smaller muscle group. So for example, for upper body, if you start with the bench press, you can superset that with the chin up, and that will be the first 2 exercises. And then maybe you can do like a dumbbell press with like a dumbbell row or machine row or something. And then you finish off with like a bicep and tricep, right? So you move on from the big exercises to like more of the single joint exercises, and you have that order. But then you have to adjust the reps, right? So for the main exercises, you should stay 5 or below usually. And then that way you can do more weight.
But with heavy weight,
yeah, with heavy weight, not 3 repetitions with the weight that you can do 20, because a lot of people do that. I would tell them that you should work with like between 3 to 5 reps, and they do empty bar, right? Yeah. Like you can do 100 with that. Like it doesn't matter. It's not just the reps. It's the reps, the weight, the intensity, the sets, the rest. Everything has to be in order together. That's why it's very specific. So obviously, if you do 5 repetitions maximum for a squat, you need a longer rest than if you do bicep curl for 10, right? That muscle is going to recover faster, and the nervous system involvement in that movement is very low. So you don't need that long recovery. Nervous system recovers 5 times slower than muscular system. So if you do nervous system training, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps on those main big movements, like a squat, deadlift, press, chin up, and so on, you need longer rest. So you might need to rest for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Or if you don't like to rest because you say you get bored, you can superset that with like a smaller exercise. So let's say you squat and then maybe you throw in like calf raises, something there. Or maybe do some box jumps or something that gets you moving, so you're not standing there for 3 minutes and looking at the watch, because athletes don't like to do that either. They don't like to stand around. But also I found if you load the bar really heavy, you will want to rest. Like you will not want to go and do it again after 30 seconds because you're going to be breathing hard, you're going to be tired, you're going to feel that you actually need that long rest, right? You can't go under the bar again in 30 seconds if it's heavy, right? You're going to need a longer rest, obviously. So the first exercises, the lower the reps, the longer the rest. The higher the reps, the shorter the rest, right? So you can structure that. It's an inverse relationship between rest and reps, right? The higher the intensity, right, the longer the rest. The lower the intensity, the shorter the rest, okay, obviously. So I would structure that, plan your day like that. If you want to get stronger, I would keep the main movements up to 5 reps. The accessory movements, so anything you do with machines, dumbbells, and things like that, I would stay at 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 and things like that. And I would structure the big muscles, long range of movement, nervous system training at the beginning, and then finish with like a single joint movement at the end.
What does age play in this? Because now when you were like telling me if you want strength, this, if you want. I'm thinking, what do I really want? You know, I am slowly and gracefully approaching 40, my 40s. So next year I'm going to be 40. I'm thinking, you know what, man, I'm good with strength. I don't need to be Superman or Batman. I'm capable or able to do whatever I want with my body. And I'm not like, I feel weak.
Right.
What I'm trying to say, I don't feel weak. So I would probably want to look good for my age.
Right.
So let's craft the perfect workout for me.
Okay, well, first of all, 40 is like a magic age. But anyway, I turned 40 this year, so...
You did?
I did. I'm 40 now. So.
Happy birthday, man.
Thanks.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome. I welcome you in a few months.
Exactly. We'll talk. We'll go for a drink.
40 is a magic age because it's been proven that after 40, every year, you lose 1% of muscle mass.
I'm already depressed.
So 1% of muscle mass if you don't train. If you train, you can delay that process greatly, right? Easily. If you train, you stay consistent and train hard. So after 40, 1% every year of muscle mass. But you lose 2 to 4% of strength every year after 40. And 8 to 10% of power. So if you look at athletes like sprinters, for example, or even basketball players or soccer players, what age is best for them,
30,
right?
yeah.
Before 30? Maybe now with the soccer players, like football players, a little older, like 35, Lewandowski's but he's a maniac about training and sleeping, right? He sleeps like 18 hours a day, whatever he sleeps, right? Not that many Cristiano Ronaldos around, right? Sprinters, like 100-meter sprinter, which is like a powerful event, like their best age for them is like 27, right? After that, it's like slower and slower and slower. They get worse. So it's very important to train for strength and power as we age, because that's going to decline fast. So if you don't do that, then you're going to, by the time you're 50, you're going to feel much, much weaker. And that's going to decrease your quality of life, because even walking up the steps, doing regular daily activities are going to be harder for you. Because if you're stronger, daily activities are better for you. Not even talking about testosterone level that's going to be higher and anabolic hormones are going to be higher, which will positively affect your daily life, your mood, how you sleep, how you function, and things like that. So you need to strength train as you age even more than muscle building. But actually you need to do both, and then do some power training, because that's going to decline 8 to 10% after 40, right? So you have 3 more months. Don't worry. So like doing like faster movements, maybe like I said, box jumps, do some box jumps, maybe do some basic like fast things, because as you age, you can just tell people are getting slower, right? They even walk slower. Old people walk slow, right? They might be kind of strong, they look good, but they slower, because power declines 8 to 10% each year after 40.
Each year?
Yeah, each year 8 to 10% if you don't train. But if you train, you can delay that greatly. Like I'm at 40 now. I'm the strongest I've ever been, because I never stop.
You look good, man.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm the strongest I've ever been, and I want to keep going. I think I can keep going till at least I'm 50. I'm getting stronger. I can be stronger up till 50, and then kind of maintain from there. But I want to be, obviously, look good, feel good, and then be strong and be healthy, because it's not only about just looking good. Like you want to be healthy too. Like you want to sleep well, right? You don't want to look good and then sleep shitty. Like you want to sleep good, and you don't want to look good and have knee pain or shoulder pain or back pain from just sitting or walking. Like you can't play with your kids, or you can't do daily activities because you're in pain, but you look great. Like I don't want to do that. I want to be strong. I want to look good, but I want to be healthy too. I want to have full range of motion in my upper body, full range of motion of my lower body. I don't want to have any knee problems. So when I have to like kneel down or be on my knees when playing with kids, I don't have knee pain and things like that. So I do want to be strong, fast, and big, right, with low body fat, but I also want to be healthy. So I don't want to sacrifice my health for the other things. So I think the number one mistake that people make with age is they do less instead of doing more quality work. They should be doing more quality work. Maybe not do as much, because the volume of work should necessarily, because the recovery is going to get worse with age anyway, right? The recovery part is the worst with age. Like when you're 20 years old, like you can, be at the party all night, and then in the morning go to training and be fine. Right now, you will die, right?
Well, I stopped, man. I stopped partying, stopped drinking.
So it's the recovery thing that's hard, but you can still train hard. It just takes a little bit longer to recover, because obviously the body is aging. But people just sometimes they stop completely. They're like, oh, I'm 60, like I've done enough. And they sit, they watch TV, and they get worse with age. But with social media now, it's great because we see these people that are like 80, 90, right? True. Training, running marathon, running sprints, 100 years old, people training and things like that. So now we see other people like, hey, this is possible. Because 20, 30, 40 years ago, if you lived in your little village, right, you're 65 years old, like, oh, I'm 65 years old, I'm old now. 65, now it's young. Like, people train, they go to the gym, they lift weights, they hike, they ride a bike, they run a marathon, they run sprints and things like that. So they really healthy, they're young, right? 65 is not old now. Back in the day, 65, you're like, with the cane and things like that, you're like, So it's different now with social media. We can actually see that it's possible, and it kind of opened up the scientific portion. Actually proves it to us that we need to strength train with age. As you age, you need to do more and more quality work. Keep training. Don't be scared of heavy lifting, because that's actually beneficial for the bones, for the cardiovascular system, for the muscular system, for your brain, for your nervous system, for your anabolic hormones to be up the optimal level. So it's really beneficial, not just for athletes, but just for regular people to train for muscle strength, train for muscle hypertrophy, and train for muscle power. So those are three things that are important with age.
Well, man, you actually convinced me now to, because I genuinely felt like, you know what, I don't need that much strength, but now when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to say this honestly with you, because I actually have stopped now for 2 months because I was getting bored with my workouts, and I didn't.
I'll write your plan.
Yeah, please.
Let's do it.
And I'm thinking, this is before after the end of the summer, I want to go back to the gym with something, a new energy, a new plan, because I felt that I'm really stagnating. I don't feel, I mean, I look good, I guess.
Yeah, you're great.
No, but seriously, I mean, I really like and love where I am right now. And it does feel like whatever I do, I don't feel there's an improvement. That's what I'm trying to get to. So what I did instead, I switched to cardio. So I walk 10,000 steps every day, no break. And I actually lost a lot of weight. I lost like 6 kilograms. I had a lot of love handles, which I fucking hate. And they were bothering me, in the summer. I was like, man, I got to get rid of this. It's not easy with the age, as you know. But just doing cardio, every day, 10,000 steps, I lost 6 kilos, and I look really good. But I could see my muscles a little bit shrinking. I see the chest is getting, some T-shirt they used to, portray my chest in a beautiful. Now I was like, I don't see that pump no more, my man. And so I want to go back. So let's do this. I want to go back and do a balance between strength and looking good. I just don't want to focus just on strength, not looking good. What would be the ideal weekly workout for me?
I would do, and that's what I do, and I think it's the best for me, and I think it could be good for you.
Okay.
I do strength training. You don't have to do 5 days. I do 5 days a week because I feel like I have to do it.
You're a professional,
so you can do 4 days a week.
I want to do 3 days, let's say.
3 days. You want to do 3 days. So what you can do is 1 week, like I said, for strength training, for gym training. You can, if you do 3 days a week, you can start it doesn't have to be Monday, day one. Let's call this day one. It could be Monday or Tuesday. It doesn't matter. So let's say we do upper body, lower body, and then upper body again, but different training upper body, right? Different exercises. And then next week you do lower body, upper body, and lower body.
You reverse.
You switch, right? So 1 week you do twice upper body, another week you do twice lower body. And then we do different cycles. So when we call this mesocycle. So mesocycle usually lasts 3 weeks. So based on scientific knowledge, you need to change your plan every 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, wow, really?
If you don't change it, then you will see no results and stagnation happens. So I design my plans every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks, you get a new plan.
3 weeks?
Every 3 weeks, you get a new plan. So first week, you kind of find the exercises, whatever you learn, the plan. You see what weight that you're going to be using for certain exercises. The second week, you try and push it. The third week is usually similar to the second week, or maybe you increase it a little more as far as weight, because that's progressive overload, and you need that. You need to progressively overload the exercises, so you can't do the same weight. You should try and strive for more weight with good technique, same range of motion and things like that, but you should be able to. The 3-week cycles work perfect because you actually increase from week 1 to week 2, and then maybe even to week 3, and then you change new exercises, new repetition schemes. Week 1, week 2, week 3, you increase and then keep going. So your body's always adapting, right? And always getting better as far as muscle strength, muscle hypertrophy, losing body fat, which is important, obviously, for us. So I would do 3 times a week strength training, and 2 to 3 times a week cardio training. And I could show you what to do with that.
Please,
so.
Yes, we can do it. What about women? Like, if you want to help, we have a lot of ladies listening to our show, especially on Instagram.
Yeah.
And let's take 2 extreme cases. We have a woman who wants to lose weight, but also be a little bit stronger. What do you advise? What would be your advice to them?
Well, as far as losing weight, we both know, and then I think everyone knows that, but they don't want to hear that. It's about nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. That's first thing. You can do training that's like, we call this fat loss training. There's this famous training. It's called German body composition. It's a lot of sets, a lot of reps, short rest periods and things like that. But just doing that and eating like shit is not gonna help you lose weight. You need to do both. So let's clear that up. So nutrition is first, then gym training. The only thing with women compared to the men, women has a little bit higher body fat naturally because of hormonal things. They naturally will carry more fat than men. So for men, like the ultimate goal would be 10% body fat. Right. 15% would be for females, right? So you want to be men and females and men. They don't want to be at the same body fat because women are naturally higher body fat. And because of that, they have less muscle mass because it's proportional, right? More body fat, less muscle mass. Men usually weigh more, so they have either less fat, they weigh more, so they have more muscle mass naturally. Okay, so because of that, they also have higher threshold, higher percentage of, there's 2 different muscle fibers in your body. The slow twitch muscle fibers, and we call the other ones the fast twitch muscle fibers. The fast ones produce fast, powerful movements. The slow ones produce movements that you need for cardio, right? Just like slow, steady cardio, right? They like big muscle fibers and smaller muscle fibers. So women naturally possess less of the fast twitch muscle fibers. That's why men can like jump a little higher. They can run a little faster, right? Obviously, women can jump high and run fast as well, but not as fast. If you put the fastest woman and fastest man next to each other, the man is going to win, right? Naturally, because it's based on physiology, right? Based on proportional fast twitch motor units and high threshold motor units and fast twitch muscle fibers, based on muscle to fat proportions and just overall strength status. Yeah. So for females, it's really important to get strong as well. And because they have more body fat and less muscle mass, then they can actually tolerate shorter rest periods than men because they're going to be doing less weight, right, for the same exercises. So if you squat 100 kilos, right, obviously there's women that can squat 100 kilos, but let's say you take a random female at the gym, she may be squatting 60 kilos, right? She's going to be squatting less than an average man. That's physiology again. So because she's squatting less weight, she can tolerate shorter rest periods. So if you rest 2 minutes, she can rest 1 minute and 30 seconds, for example. And she should do that. So men and women shouldn't rest the same between exercises. Women can rest actually a little lower, shorter than men. So it's more dense, the exercise. They can do more, and they should be doing a little more volume. So volume is how much reps and sets and how many exercises you do in a day. And because women have a lower muscle mass than men, they should be doing a little bit more exercises than men. So the volume of training can be and should be a little higher for the woman than a man, and the rest periods should be a little lower than a man as well.
Because what I hear from women, and I remember this, I used to be in a relationship with a girl. She really, really loved her workouts, and she was going really strong. And At some point, she was telling me, you know what, I think I'm going too crazy. I don't want to start looking like a man, especially in the shoulder area. What do you have to say about that? That women that say, I don't want to look like a man.
Yeah, I think it's the curse of social media as well, because now we look at social media and we see like the best people in the world. People that look the best in the world. And we think that it's easy to do that, and now everyone that trains looks like that. It's a smaller percentage of people. Women that look like men, it's impossible unless you take anabolic hormones. It's physically and physiologically impossible for a woman to look like a man because of the lower testosterone levels and because of the things that I described. If a woman is looking like a man, then the other features like facial features, maybe her voice will change, and that's because of anabolic hormones. If you compete in bodybuilding, usually that's the case, right? But for a regular training female, it's virtually impossible to look like a man, right? And usually that's why women gravitate towards doing cardio more and not weight training, because they think if they pick up a weight, they pick up a bar, they're going to grow right away. It's impossible. It's almost as you're afraid to drive a car because you're going to become a Michael Schumacher, right? Or something, right? It's not going to happen like that. Or you're afraid to play piano because you're going to become a Chopin, right? So
what can you tell women in this case who are afraid?
I'll say try it. Try it first and see, because I always say like the process is always reversible. It's not like you gain muscle and it's going to be there and it's going to keep going forever, right? All of a sudden you wake up and like, oh, I'm so huge now I can't go back. Like the process of building muscle is a slow physiological process that takes a long, long time. And if you don't like the way you look, you can always stop and it's going to go back to where it was before. Like you said, you stopped training and you lost muscle mass. It's natural, because for your body to maintain muscle mass, it needs to have a reason to maintain the muscle mass. If it doesn't have a reason, right, for your chest to be big, if you stop bench pressing, there's no reason for your chest to be big, right? Because you're not stressing that body part, and there's no reason for that chest to be big. So the chest is going to grow smaller because it's an expensive commodity for the body, muscle mass is, right? Because it needs to deliver protein to that muscle, it needs to regenerate that muscle. So if it doesn't need it, it's going to lose it, unless you have like just genetic freak like The Rock or something, right? And you're just big, but he trains hard, but obviously. There's some people that have better genes than other ones. They have naturally bigger muscles and things like that. So, but for normal people, if you stop training, you're going to lose it. And so I always tell, like, if you don't like it after a week, after a week, give me a week. If you grow after a week, you can always stop, and we can change exercises. Like women's, they're always self-conscious about the legs.
Right.
So I'll be careful with too much squatting, because obviously that's going to grow some legs. Maybe do lower repetitions with women as well, because they think when they go heavy, they're going to grow. But it's actually the opposite. If you go light and you do many repetitions, that's when you're going to swell up the quadriceps. When you do nervous system training, you do like 3 repetitions for maximum weight. The time under tension that it takes for the muscle to grow has to be longer, right? The muscle has to be under stress for 40 seconds, for 50 seconds to grow, because that's where the muscle fiber breakdown happens. And you have to repeat the same movement. So if you bend your leg, right, you repeat the movement of breaking down muscle fibers. But if you do it 2 times, really heavy, that's not going to grow the muscle. It's going to make you stronger, right? It's going to help you lose body fat as well, because the recovery process after that is going to be greater, right? For your body to recover, usually the most body fat that you lose is for recovery. It's not during training. That's I always tell people. The harder the training, the 23 hours after that, that's when you're going to lose body fat. And the heavier that you go, your body's going to need more energy to recover. And then for recovery, it's going to use fat, right? So it's not about the training itself almost. It's about the 23 hours after training. That's why it's nutrition. That's why you have to go heavy in the gym and not be scared of big weights, because big weights are not going to grow unless you do big weights and you do 8 repetitions, right, or 10 repetitions. But if you do 3 or 4, that's almost impossible to become big. That's why when you see Olympic weightlifters, right, when you see, they're not as big as bodybuilders, right? True. They do low repetitions. Obviously, they look great. Some of them are big, right, but they usually do 2, 3, 4 repetitions, as bodybuilders do 6, 8, 10, 20, 50, sometimes 100, right? Because when you do 100, you repeat the process of breaking down muscle fibers, right? And you swell up the muscle, you create inflammation in the muscle. So the muscle, the next time, is going to grow a little bigger, it's going to have more fluid around the muscle, so it's going to be bigger. So that's what the women don't want. So they kind of are gravitating towards doing many reps and doing cardio because they think it's going to make them bigger, but it's actually the opposite, right? If you do stick to doing 8 to 10 reps, you might actually get bigger. So you might actually get opposite results, and then you're going to say, the gym is going to making me bigger again. Like, so it's about structuring the plan for specific needs for the female or male, right? Because different reps, different weight, rest periods, this all going to act differently, right? It depends on the goals. If you want muscle mass, you want strength, you want body fat loss, you want conditioning, that's all going to look different, right? So the reps, the sets, the rest periods, the exercises, the order of exercises, days per week, the frequency, the intensity is all going to look different, right? And you have to structure that based on individual goals. So if somebody has a goal of losing body fat, I would structure the plan for losing body fat and not increasing muscle mass. So it's as simple as that. You can always, targeted. Yeah, you can always target the specific adaptation that you want.
You mentioned nutrition. What's your take on it? Where do you land on the nutritious world?
It might be controversial, but I don't think it is. Because if you look at the history of the world, I always, because people are confused about what to eat now, right? A lot of people don't know what to eat. So what should I eat? What should I eat? I always think about, now I tell them that, think about what was available 50,000 years ago on Earth and eat that. If you're in doubt and you have no idea, think about what was available always on Earth before industrial processing food, processing foods and producing food on mass scale came. What was available? Meat, fruits and vegetables, fish. What else?
Some chicken.
yeah. So beef, chicken, fish, fruits, vegetables, honey, dairy, maybe like if you milk a cow, you have dairy and things like that. So just eat that and you'll be fine, right? Nobody's ever gotten fat from just eating that, right? Because people are always also scared of eating fruits because fruits obviously have sugar. But there's no fat people just eat fruits, right? Obese people and people overweight, they don't just eat fruits. Even if they tell you like, I just eat fruits. No, you don't. You don't just eat fruits, right? You eat other things, right? So if you just stick to what was available always before like the 19th century, right? You'll be good. You'll be good. You'll lose fat and you'll gain whatever you want to gain, right? So just get rid of the processed food. Get rid of, if you go to the store, just shop on outside. Because outside you have the fruits and vegetables, the meat and the dairy and the eggs. And inside you have the chips and candy and all that stuff. So don't go in the middle. Go on the outside and leave, right? Just buy whatever you need from the outside from a grocery store. So that's my take on it.
Okay, and what about cheat days? And are you in or against?
For mental health, I think it's decent. It's good to do a cheat day if it helps you. There's two kinds of people. There's people that can go cold turkey, so to speak, so they don't have any cheat days, any cheat meals, and they can stay like that. It's fine, because they know if they do one cheat meal and the next day they do it again and they start the process again. So it's better not to do it again. Don't even start that process. And there's other people that need that every like 5-7 days, do like a cheat day or even cheat meal, and that's fine if they can stick to it and they know it's just one day or one meal. And then the next day they go back into like a regular eating habits again. That's fine for mental health. As far as physiological, like I can't speak on that because there's certain studies that say it's not good. But like I said, it's for mental. It's really good and it can have great effects because mentally you feel good. And you feel like you worked for it the whole week. You ate good. Now you can kind of have that reward. Like I have that, but from my experience, I have that less and less because the more you stick to it, to good diet, to training, the less you're inclined to not to train, right? Like I want to train every day almost, right? Because I've been doing it for 25, 30 years. Like I don't know how to not to train. Like I have the urge to train. I have the urge to eat good and eat healthy. But sometimes I do have a slice of pizza, have some ice cream, have some
just a slice.
I had Last time I had 3, and that was my
God.
record.
Oh,
That was my record for the past 15 years. I haven't had the whole
Really?
pizza. Yeah, I think.
Oh man, you're a beast. Do athletes have cheat days or cheat meals maybe?
Yeah, athletes don't eat as good as you think they should be eating. I think because of training so much, sometimes they train twice a day. They do gym, conditioning. They do obviously on the field or in the gym, playing their sport a lot. So sometimes they eat bad and they look good because first of all, they're young.
Training a lot.
They train a lot and they're young. So the metabolism is really, really good. Usually the most healthy eaters are past 30 years old. So the athletes that are playing professionally, any sport, basketball, handball, MMA, and they over 30, they usually eat the best because they know now, they see the difference of healthy eating. They learn how to do it. They know how they feel. They know, they see the difference right away if they eat bad because it's going to store as fat, because we talked about with age when the metabolism slows down. But if you're 18 years old, 20 years old, you eat at McDonald's every day, you're probably not going to gain fat if you're a professional athlete, right? Because you're training and running around so much. That doesn't mean it's healthy and you should do that, because high sodium food is going to lead to cramps, to potassium depletion. That leads to a lot of injuries. That's why a lot of athletes now, they look healthy, they train, but they tear their Achilles tendon or they mess up their knees and things like that. It's because of the diet as well, because high sodium is going to create deficiencies in your bodies that's going to make the body susceptible to injuries more. So a lot of people don't know, like, why am I getting injured? I train, I sleep, but you eat at McDonald's every day, right? That's why. That's one of the reasons. It's usually a combination of things. But I tell athletes, like, you can't, even though you're training hard, you might feel like you deserve it, but do it once a week. Don't do it every day, right? Don't do it every other meal or twice a day sometimes. So some athletes just eat fast food like every day, or like 3 times a day, because they are young. Yeah. Not all of them, right? Obviously, there's good and bad, but that leads to injuries. And I see a lot of, because I lived in the United States, I lived in Poland. I see a lot of the food culture kind of moving to Poland from the West, as far as fast food and eating on the go and eating out and not eating in a house and cooking from scratch and things like that. And we see that correlation with younger people getting injured more and more. So they get injured, their knees get injured more, the ankles, the Achilles tendon. There's more injuries than there was before. And I think partially it's because of their diet and the food quality influence from the West a little bit, coming to Poland, and more fast foods and more eating on the go and eating fast. And then obviously that's addictive, and because it's tasty. So they want to do that. And they don't think it's bad because they still look good, they still in shape. But that leads to injuries, I think, partially.
That's the side effects we don't see, tend to not see. Let's close the topic by talking about supplements. Or rather, I wouldn't call it illegal enhancement, but let's talk, for example, TRT, the testosterone, replacement therapy. Where do you land on that topic?
That's not my area of expertise as far as scientific knowledge goes, but I do listen to a lot of smart people on that topic. I think it's we live in an age of breakthrough as far as hormonal therapy and TRT replacement and things like that. Obviously, it's illegal for athletes because of the testing, but it's not illegal for regular population, for us, right? And I think, like I said, if you train hard, even like I've been training for like 25 years now regularly, I still feel like right now I'm starting to feel like I'm recovering not as good as I was before. So the recovery part is getting worse. And TRT, testosterone therapy, testosterone in general, or most anabolic hormones, help you not in a way that they increase performance. They increase performance because they improve the recovery. So the recovery is better. So if you have a joint pain or you have inflammation because of training, that's going to heal up and recover much faster with TRT or testosterone than it would if you didn't have that, right? Especially with age. If you're 40 or close to 40, or if you're 50 or 60, that's almost like because right now with the scientific knowledge, we actually know that with the right dose, with the help of a doctor, it's actually healthy to do it with age. So I would encourage everyone over 50 to go see the doctor and talk about that and try it and start with small doses. It would be better if you train as well, like if you train, because that's gonna complete the process. But past 40, you can start thinking about it. I think past 50 is for sure.
Definitely.
But older you get, the more you should think about it, the more you need it, because you can't stop father time. Father time has no mercy on all of us. It's going to catch up to us, and the testosterone level, first of all, is going to decline with age, and second of all, since 1970s, the testosterone in males around the world declines 1% every year because of the bad soil, bad food, the toxicity of the food, the estrogen in the food. Males have less testosterone now than they have 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you can see how kids that are 14, 15, 16 years old look now, but you look at your parents' pictures and their grandparents' pictures at 14, 15, 16, they look like they were 25 years old back then because of life, the quality, better quality food and things like that. The soil was not as messed up. So it's actually proven scientifically now that the testosterone decreases 1% every year since 1970s. Wow. So we're actually going to need more of that, and we're going to need that with the TRT replacement and things like that to thrive and to do the things that we want to do. If you do it healthy, I think it's very beneficial.
Beautiful. Well, Mirek, I think you convinced me to hire you as a coach. You are signed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. You are making my head spin, you know. I'm thinking like, damn, I got to go back to the gym tomorrow. Any last parting words you want to say?
No, just thank you very much. I hope you went by fast, so I hope we do part two.
Amazing conversation, amazing flow. Thank you so much, Mirek.
Thanks very much.
We hope to see you soon again.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. If you would like to learn more or discover more, you can click right here on this video to enjoy more authentic and honest stories. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you soon.